Hey y'all. So this video is going to be a little bit longer. So I'm going to let you know that like at 60 seconds, probably go over to my YouTube to watch the rest of it. But I want to share with you the realities of disability. This is me. This is about as much as I could stand. And I usually have my cane, but I'm holding this phone. And so I have to walk bent over like this. And I have been stuck in bed since about Thursday. I overexerted myself. But I wanted to talk about the very real realities of what this looks like and why I'm saying community is something that's so needed. Excuse me. For a week, damn near, I have been stuck. And for the past few months, I've been going in and out. You see that? Not in my hair? Not lovely. So I wanted to just talk about people and how they react to all of these things and how people can show up for you or not. So, when you are dealing with your disabilities, you start really realizing a lot of different things. And people see the sides of you that you decide to show on social media. I am a person that's like, fuck it, let them see it all, right? So, I've been here, and all I've been able to do is like really get up and maybe wash up in the sink very loosely, not terribly efficiently. Today I made it over to the other house because y'all know I live in the cottage, but the water heater is broken here, so I have to go to the main house in order to shower. My hair has not been brushed. It has been in a fucking bonnet, and I have been stuck. When you're here, you feel really isolated, right? So you get a lot of time to think about things. I'm super privileged for that purpose, right? Like I get to think about stuff. And as you guys know, I do a lot of like energy work. So when I'm sitting here laying down, I'm thinking about all the people and all the ways that parasocial relationships show up and people who think they know you or know what's going on or just all of the things. And I'm thinking about my patrilineal line and the men in my family because my father himself had polio as a youth. And let's just say black men in 1947 weren't getting top fucking tier care. So he always had these really deep, deep wounds, like from his knees all the way down, that used to bring pain, right? And it started making me wonder as I was sitting here thinking, how fucking high can I get to not feel this pain or to sleep through this pain? It started making me think about how this probably impacted his life and turned him from a nurse to a heroin addict. And then it started me to think about my grandfather who had MS and my grandmother who was like, you know, these are fucking immigrants and like no real support system, and how isolating it must have felt to be in this new country, no real family to speak of, no real support, and this woman having 3 of your children to raise as well as take care of you. And as I sat here in the cottage alone, not sure. Yes, buddy. Not right now. As, yes. Not right now. I'm doing my hair. I'll hug you later. And I started wondering, I'll hug you later. I started wondering, am I lonely or alone, right? Like I do love to be left alone, but when you are incapacitated, it feels really fucking lonely. And so that led me to start thinking about how isolated people are, right? You don't want to feel like a burden to somebody. You're here. The cottage was a fucking wreck. Trash was piled up. Dishes were piled up. My hair was a fucking wreck. I low-key smell, like not terribly, but it wasn't fucking, you know, it wasn't all like cocoa butter and dreams like I usually like to smell. You know, and you just really just start thinking about all of those things. And who else is out there who doesn't have the support of people, right, to come through, to make things happen, Or like I have the dexterity now to rip my damn hair apart and do it. Just all of those things. So anyway, it led me to thinking about community and doing the healing work on with the men in my family energetically, who probably felt doubly isolated in the fact that, you know, these were men that could not perform up to the standards of what a man should, quote unquote, perform to. And some of that healing, and due to the fact that it's on my right side and that's masculine energy, yada, yada, yada. So anyway, all of these thoughts ensued. And I was like, I'm going to share with my folks because you guys follow me. And I need you guys to remember that we're not just doing anti-racism work, right? We are doing decolonization work, which means rethinking all of the shit that you've ever been told and taught, unlearning all of the ableism, all of the hatred, all of these unconscious biases that we all hold because we have all been socialized underneath a supremacy culture regime. And the reason why I call it supremacy culture is because everybody is impacted. When I say white supremacy, now we're talking about this part of supremacy culture that impacts black people. When I talk about supremacy culture as a whole, it's the entire system, which impacts you too as white people. So while we're sitting here on this MLK Day, I want y'all to remember, well, the celebration of MLK Day. I want you to remember that he was an enemy of the state when he was murdered, okay? His ideas of peace, love, and harmony were considered violent because they were coming from a black mouth. And when we're thinking about all of these things and the isolation that people feel when they don't get things and don't understand, and how the fuck are we going to get together and get into community? These are the things you need to be tearing apart. Like how? And thinking about other people and what they're going through. You hear this mess that's happening? One of my favorite quotes from MLK is, "I fear I've integrated my people into a burning house." And that shit is real. Because you know what it tells me? The call is coming from inside, y'all, right? When MLK first started out, he started out with his work, obviously civil rights, like laws to be changed so black people would no longer exist as second-class citizens. But that doesn't change the heart of men. That changes laws and how it impacts bodies. And then new laws were enacted, right? You know, we know crime bill and all that other shit. Yes, Morg? Okay, I'm sorry you fell, sweetheart. And, no, I'm almost done with my hair. I'll let you know when you can come and hug me. Thank you. So when he first started out, that was his absolute mission and goal and accomplished, right? And by the time it became problematic and he became somebody to watch is when he started doing the poor people's movement, right? Because he started realizing this shit is larger than racism. It is larger than classism. It is a whole system-wide corruption from the ruling class. And these people need to be stopped. And that only happens when we come into community with each other. That shit's looking kind of silky, y'all. Right? So, see this? It's like a fucking bush. You see that? Look at that. That's what happens when you are stuck laying in bed for days on end. So, anywho, as I'm finishing off this hair detanglement, I just want y'all to think about how the call is coming from inside the fucking house, right? This is a burning house. We're all in this motherfucker, and we're trying to get out. And I want you to ask yourself, what are you doing? How are you dismantling it? What is your work? And the reason why I chose now to talk about it in this moment and show you all of this space of mine is because I believe that I owe it to people to be vulnerable and authentic. Because every fucking day ain't Sunday. It's not always butterflies and rainbows. And if we're going to do anything about it, we have to know that. You have to know that real people are talking, right? I don't want y'all to think that it's always peachy fucking keen over here. And it's not. Or like I'm not on the apps and, you know, I'm vacationing. I am also living a life and also trying to survive these systems. Just like you. Ooh, I'm almost done. That feels so goddamn good. So anyway, think about that today while I finish off my hair. Think about that quote, and maybe instead of reading the quotes that come across from white liberal progressives, usually, like, or how they weaponize Martin Luther King against black people talking about peace, you could turn around and read letters from a Birmingham jail where that quote comes from. The quote that I mentioned, I fear I've integrated my people into a burning house. And you read that and you sit down and you think about, what are you doing to either get the hell out of that house and take others with you, extinguish the fire, and then rebuild, right? Because it's not a one-part plan, right? You can't just get out of the house. Even if we all get out, you got to put the fire out, or you let it burn to the fucking ground. And then even if you let it burn to the ground, you got to rebuild. Shit makes me look bold. You see that? Because it's so white. But anyway, that is my lovely message of love, endurance, disability awareness, hairbrushing techniques, and more. Have a wonderful day.